I think your tech tip for this episode should be careful who your riding buddies are.
Yep, I agree. And put that at the end, the splash. Be careful who your riding buddies are, and then that splash.
This is episode 3, and we've got less than 15 days left before we pack up and head out. So,
In a way, it's scary,
Right.
and in a way, it's great. But I mean, the time is just flying. 15 days is just around the corner. We
Right.
got to move. We got to do a lot of stuff still. You know?
right, it's crunch time. So we've still got some things to do. We've had a couple of bumps in the road. We'll talk about that in just a second. But last year, as you all saw, we had 3 folks going out. Me, you, and Lee Walston. This year, as I think we've already said, we've got 12 racing and 17 total going out, bringing bikes. So we've got the 12 that are going to be racing. There's a few that want to go, and they're going to sort of split off.
We're going to do it like a desert run thing there for the day, you know. So that's pretty cool. So we're taking a total of 17 bikes, though.
Right.
But there's only 12 of us that are actually racing the World's Gates.
Right. So yeah, they're gonna. So we're gonna get out there probably Monday, that first week of November. So we're leaving on the 30th with 2 trucks loaded with 17 bikes, and each truck will pull a trailer, and we'll try and get there Monday evening. And the goal is either Tuesday and or Wednesday, try and hit a couple of local tracks. And then Thursday we're going to be, at Glen Helen and practicing, and all will start then. The big thing about this year, as opposed to last year, is we've got a team that's going to be racing in the Cup of Nations.
USA!
That's it.
Awesome.
So Ike's going to represent the 50 and up.
The old guys.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Even though you got 20 years on.
That's okay. We're just going to race as best as we can.
That's it. And Lee and Heath Hayes. We're hoping that we can get a second team together. So Lori out at Glen Helen is kind of putting all those logistics together. So we're hoping we can get another team. We've certainly got the folks. The bump in the road is we've got a couple of guys that are 50 and older that one had an accident racing, and the other
in
guy
their serious training.
Right.
They had accidents, and obviously it makes you to think that they're too excited, right?
Yeah.
I want to get some training in quickly. I've got to be ready.
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean, this happens. This is part of the sport, you know. So, yeah,
Right.
it's put a little hiccup into it, but I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah, I think everything's going to be good. Lynn Bailey broke his wrist in some training. He's had an operation. We're going to see. I think he's going to bring his bike out and see how he feels when he gets out there, do a little bit of racing, possibly at least get on the track and say you've been on the Glen Helen.
Oh, yeah,
Raceway.
yeah. No, you don't want to go there not right, even if you push your bike around the track.
Right.
You're going to do it.
So, and then Mike Ward,
Yeah.
who broke a thumb in a race, he's had an operation, but I think he's recovering pretty good, and I think he's going to be good to go. So if we get that second team, I think we'll be good about having a 50 and up guy.
Yeah, we'll be ready for it.
Yeah.
We'll be ready for it.
So-
And I'm hoping we do get it. I mean, that would be so awesome.
Oh
It'd be
yeah,
nice.
it'll be amazing. So if you've probably noticed, we're wearing last year's shirt that we had made up for the event. Yep. These are our sponsors from last year, and we've got a pretty good group sponsoring us this year.
Beautiful.
What the front looks like is going to be completely different, and so we'll show you. It's being printed now with Liquid Skins, and so Janelle's working hard getting that done, and we'll reveal that at some point down the road. It's really, the front's going to look really cool. And
Yeah, I'd really like if we can get it beforehand so we can take a picture of the whole group, everybody wearing their shirts and everything, you know,
Right.
before we Mike's sitting with a problem again. That's all he does is work on motorcycles. He never gets to ride.
That's right. We're sitting here looking at a conundrum, right? If you have a counter shaft seal leak, if oil is coming out of the seal around your main drive sprocket, then this is what you're going to have to do.
Besides dealing with a terrible mess, made a heck of a mess. It took a long time to clean up.
All everywhere. So Ike has already pulled the chain off, and to get that out of the way, he's also pulled the cover that goes over the main sprocket, and so we've gotten all that out of the way. Already loosened the main nut on the drive sprocket or the counter shaft. So what you're going to have to do is get a main seal that goes behind this sprocket, a small little rubber O-ring that goes even further back. There's a little notch on the counter shaft that this goes in, and we're going to show you all that. And you can get the sleeve. Sometimes they'll be a little worn out. It's not necessary. I didn't know how bad Ike's sleeve would be, so I went ahead and ordered it. It was about $20 just to make sure that we didn't get into this and needed it and didn't have it. So for $20 I went ahead and we ordered it. So these are the three things you're going to need: a counter shaft seal, an O-ring, and possibly this sleeve, right? So the way they'll go in is this O-ring will go in first, then you'll push this in, and we're going to show you how to do it. You can't just push this in with your fingers or you'll mess up. And then you'll push this sleeve in. And if you'll notice, the sleeve has these little half moon notches cut out. That has to go towards the bike. Pull the nut off, and it's already been loosened. We'll pull the washer off that you bend over to make sure that the bolt or nut doesn't come off, and then the sprocket will come off. All right. And then here we're going to reveal the seal that is leaking and the sleeve that goes inside of it. All right. And what you're going to want, you can either use a screwdriver, and you'll end up ruining it, but you'll have to bend the tip over to get in there, or if you've got a pick to get this seal out. And so you're going to have to go in behind that seal. So there's a little rubber seal that goes up against this sleeve. You can push a pick past it, right, and then pull this out. All right, so we've been able to get the sleeve loose, and so we're going to go ahead and pull the sleeve out there. All right, so we've got this pulled out. Then the sleeve comes out, and so that. And then the other thing is, a little further back, as you can see, there's a little bitty washer. You're going to want to replace that. So it's a little bit tedious, but it's not too big a deal. So you got everything removed.
That's the little one out of it.
Now, what you want to make sure that you do not do is when you press the new one in, you can push this new seal too far past. So the seal that it makes is on this outside with the case. You can push it too far. And so what you're going to want to do is get your washer or a washer that's about this size, flatten it out, and then you're going to use, I would either use the old spacer, this old spacer, and use it to push against. So you're going to, and we're going to show you how to do that. All right, so what you're going to want to do is do not put any lubricant on the outside of this seal, because you want it to make a good connection, a good seal with the case. You do, however, want to put a little bit of motor oil lubricant on this inside seal for when you push the sleeve in, because you're going to push the sleeve in after you've pushed this in. So let's first put the new O-ring on. Just inside the counter shaft there's a ridge. You want to make sure that this O-ring is in that ridge all the way around. Okay. Next, you're going to take your O-ring, now this, and you're going to put a little bit of oil on that inside lip, and that's the way it's going to go in. You'll see some writing and all on the outside. That's how you want it. So that writing and whatnot will want to, and you can kind of pre-stage it a little bit. So you'll use your washer, you'll kind of line it up. You'll use this spacer to push against the washer evenly, and so the bolt, and then you just thread your bolt back on. The washer's pushing that seal in past the case. And you'll get to a point where it gets flush, right? It's a little bit stiff. And then you can back it off. And it's in there. Kind of hold it up. Alright, so if you can see what I'm doing is I'm taking the washer that you use to fold over onto this nut to hold the sprocket on, okay, to push against the new seal, because you want to push evenly. You don't want to use your fingers and try and push, because you'll run the risk of getting it cockeyed in there. So you use your old washer, and you can use a spacer, or you can use the old spacer if you are going to replace it. And then so all you're doing is using it to push against, because your nut's not going to go past this spline. So as you can see, it's been pushed in and it's flush with the engine case. So now what we're going to do is put the new seal in. And if you can remember, you want to make sure that those little half moon cutouts go in towards the engine. And so it'll push past that seal. Also, before you get started with this, because you'll quickly learn when you've got a mess in the floor, you'll want to drain the oil out before you start pulling this seal out. I mean, I know it was leaking before. If you're doing this job, your seal is leaking. But when you do pull the seal out, you're going to dump all the oil out into the floor if you haven't at least emptied it out the drain plug. So, anything you want to add?
It was a quick job, pretty easy, but it's not good while it's leaking.